everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Pearl. This is where I discuss everything related to health, wellness, and mindset to help you improve your life, feel better, and thrive. If you're passionate about your health and want to learn more about ways to optimize this and keep your well-being in check, then please subscribe to my channel. This is where you're going to find all my top tips and tricks to keep you healthy. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to lose weight. Now, it's not the how to lose weight fast, it's not the how to lose weight quick, it's the how to lose weight in a sustainable way. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about the top mistakes to avoid making when you're trying to lose weight. If you have been struggling to lose weight, you've been yo-yo dieting, you might lose some weight here but gain it back and lose some down there and then gain it back. If any of that resonated with you, this video is just for you. I'm going to be going through the steps to sustainably lose weight and keep it off for good. Now, I usually don't make videos like this because my main goal is not to get people to lose weight, it's to get people to be healthier and feel better, have more energy through building habits. And in that process, they do end up losing weight, but losing weight is not my sole purpose. As I was looking through YouTube and thinking about video ideas, this topic was one that was searched quite a bit for. And I would see things like how to lose weight fast, how to lose weight quick, how to lose weight overnight. What? How to lose weight in a week. And I'm like, this whole misconception about losing weight and how it should be fast and quick and easy and no big deal, it blew my mind. Even though I think it's gotten better, people are still looking for the fast, quick schemes on how to lose weight. And that's when they run into some of these mistakes I'm going to mention, and then they actually don't end up losing weight, which was their main goal. So really, it's kind of counterintuitive. So their goal is to lose weight, but they don't end up sustainably losing weight and keeping it off, doing all these fast tricks and tips. As part of my job, it's very important for me to promote healthy habits, things that are going to serve you and last in the long run, and also that people enjoy the process and build a good relationship with themselves and with food on the way to reach their goal. I really want to do this video just to clear up a lot of the misconceptions and share what I believe is one of the better ways to lose weight. I'm going to be discussing some of the most common mistakes that I see when people are trying to lose weight, and then talk about some practical tips and tricks to make it more sustainable so you can actually reach your goals for the long term. The first mistake I'm going to be talking about today is fad diets. So FAD, not fat diets, fad diets. And these are diets that are a fad. So people hop on them, they do them for X amount of time, then they hop off them. And when the next fad comes, they'll hop on that diet. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I believe keto is a fad diet, paleo is a fad diet, all the other diets that pop up are fad diets. Now, I only say this because my definition of a fad diet is one that people go on and off of quite frequently, and one that cuts out some or whole food groups. So from that definition, that's what I define those as fad diets. Other people will definitely have different definitions, and I'm sure not everyone's going to agree with me, and that's okay, because my approach and how I see food and how I see health and habits and goals is much different from most people, and that's okay too, because there's more than one way to reach your goal, but there are some ways that might be better for you, or some ways that might be not as good for you. Again, it all comes down to you and what works best for you. I'm just sharing my experience and my knowledge, what I believe is helpful. Anyway, sorry for the ramble. Back to the fad diets. So the reason fad diets is one of the biggest mistakes that I see people making is because these fad diets guarantee results like, oh, lose weight fast. And yes, they do work. And I do quote unquote work because yes, you go on a diet, you cut out XYZ, and then you lose weight. But that's because you cut out all these things. On any diet, you can name it anything. But if you cut out the junk food and the things that are high in fat or carbs or all the foods that aren't as good for us, if you cut out all those foods, you're going to lose weight. It doesn't matter what diet it's on. Ultimately, your regular diet should be minimal in all those foods anyway, right? Really, it's more beneficial to build healthier habits and have a healthy diet instead of jumping on off these fad diets. But the one reason why I don't believe they're a good choice is because most fad diets are not sustainable. So most people cannot sustain a diet for the long term. And when I mean long term, I mean years and years and years and years. When I'm talking about any health recommendations or setting goals, I want people to be healthy for the long term. So for example, if you're 30 years old and I'm talking to you, I'm going to be setting goals for you that you can do until you're 80 or 90. Most people don't stay on these diets for that long anyway. So there's no really good evidence because people aren't able to stay on those diets as long. But it's very common that people drop off these diets and regain the weight back because they weren't sustainable, because they were cutting out too much of a certain food, because they were not enjoying the process, because it was too restrictive, and all these other issues that come up with these fad diets. So I believe that's the first mistake people make by getting sucked into these fad diets, losing weight quickly but regaining it as soon as they stop the fad diets and not being able to sustain the habits that they are forming. Instead of fad diets, I encourage you all to start forming healthy habits that last long term and taking it step by step, taking it slow, because yes, not as fast. Another thing, when we lose weight rapidly, our body is put in a shock, because if you were a certain weight for X amount of time and you lost a bunch of weight, your body's like, what just happened? One thing to note is that our bodies like homeostasis, which means when things stay the same, our body and our brains are very resistant to change. So in this case, you have to make very small changes for our bodies to be okay with it and adapt to it better. If we rapidly lose weight, our body will find ways to regain that weight because it is not the state our body is comfortable in, and we're going to want to get that state back. On the flip side, if you gradually and slowly lose weight, our bodies will slowly get used to it. It's kind of like the frog in a pot analogy. I'm not sure if you've heard it, but if you put a live frog in a pot of boiling water, what's it gonna do? It's gonna jump out. But if you put a live frog in a pot of cold water, slowly turn up the heat, well, the frog won't jump out because it won't notice these small increments of the increasing temperature. Same idea with the body and actually any habit forming. Now, I don't condone eating frogs, but that's just the example that came up to my mind. It's something that someone has mentioned to me quite recently. So to conclude, making small habits that can be sustainable and not shock our body, and that is a great way to really reach your weight loss goals. The second mistake that I see quite often is that people cut out their favorite foods. I don't know about y'all, but if someone told me to cut out my favorite foods, I would be like, hell no, I love this, I love that, I love this. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, cutting out people's favorite foods is like taking away joy from them. Now, this doesn't mean that you're gonna go eat your favorite food every day. Also, another thing to note, favorite foods don't have to be bad. Favorite foods can be great. I love apples, I love nuts. Those are my favorite foods, so I would not cut them out because those are my favorite foods, but they also happen to be healthy. Now, some people have favorite foods that aren't as healthy, and trust, I also have favorite foods. I also love candy, I also love donuts. I love all the good stuff, but again, it's about forming those healthy habits and having boundaries and forming discipline around these foods. So instead of cutting them out, gradually decrease the consumption of them. Same analogy, you want to gradually change things so our bodies are going to be okay with it. Example is that most people, when they start losing weight, they're like, I'm gonna cut out everything. They're super pumped, motivated. They cut out all the stuff that they used to be eating. They eat no carbs, they eat no sugar, they eat no fat, they eat vegetables and salads and all the good stuff. Yes, which is great, but then they only do it for X amount of time. And then when they fall off the wagon, which eventually most people do, then they go back to their old habits and they're like, oh, whatever, I fell off for a couple of days, so I'm just gonna go back and eat all this junk. I'm gonna eat this whole box of donuts. I believe it's way more important to form discipline and really be able to control yourself rather than totally eliminating the food. Because when you think about it, when you totally eliminate something, it just removes the problem, but you don't work on it. So when you come back into a situation where you face the problem, you're going to get triggered again and you will end up repeating the behavior that was not beneficial for you. For example, I love to eat donuts and I have an uncontrollable need for them. So let's say I cut out donuts, so I never see them, never crave them, it's fine, I'm good, I'm eating healthy. But when I go back to my old habits, when I get some donuts, I'm gonna eat the whole box, or I'm gonna eat quite a few, because I've been depriving myself of those donuts, and I've been like really wanting them, been really sad I haven't been able to have them, my mental health isn't great around the donuts, and you know, I'm just a sad person, because I just really like donuts. So when I see my donuts, I'm gonna be like, oh my god, donuts, and eat them. Versus if I were to say, okay, Pearl, I can have one donut a week, or I can have one donut every 2 weeks, or whatever the number might be, and I'll gradually decrease it. So one, I'm not depriving myself of eating the foods I like, but two, I'm developing a self-discipline and mental resilience to these foods so I don't have to succumb to the power or control that I allowed it to have over me. Doing this is a much better and healthier way, especially mindset-wise, to overcome those foods that we really enjoy, but to be able to control and still have them as a part of our diet. If you watch my other video about the main health principles that I have, the 80-20 rule is so powerful. It's so important to include the foods you love to really lead a happy and healthy lifestyle. That's what I believe anyway. It is important to decrease the amount, but cutting it out completely usually is not sustainable in the long term. In relation to cutting out some of your favorite foods, third mistake that I see people do is to skip meals. This is so common. But Pearl, I thought eating less is how you lose weight. I thought having less calories is how you lose weight. And yes, this is true. But skipping meals is not ideal if they're not done in a strategic way where our bodies can get used to it and not hold on to the calories. One key thing to note, if you've noticed the trend, is that our bodies and our psychology is a very important part of making any changes in life. And we really want to make the process easier for ourselves by allowing our bodies to slowly get used to the change. When it comes to skipping meals, many people believe that, oh, okay, I'll just skip breakfast, it's fine, like no worries there. Or I'll skip lunch, or I'll only eat dinner, or I'll only eat one meal a day, or I'll only eat a little bit here and there. If we don't have a consistent, reliable source of fuel coming into our bodies are going to wonder, when am I eating next? I don't know when the next meal is. Am I even gonna eat? Oh my God. Our body goes into survival mode. When our body's in survival mode, also when we're more stressed out, our body is not sure about when the next meal is gonna come in. So when we do eat our next meal, our body's gonna hold on to every single calorie, every single fat, every single carb, just because it doesn't know when the next one's coming. So it hoards it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna save this all up, so next time I don't have to starve and I'll burn it off. That's what happens. The main thing here is consistency, so we can tell our body, don't worry, man, food's coming at 2 o'clock. You don't have to stress out. So then your body will not hold on to those calories, but let go of them. And that is one thing that most people are not aware of. The thing that I would suggest is to just decrease the amount you're eating at each meal time. So still important to eat regular meals or eat your snacks or do whatever your usual routine is, but the quality and the quantity of the foods you're eating is what can be changed. So decreasing what you're eating at mealtime, adding more vegetables, adding more nutrient-dense food. This can be much more beneficial than skipping meals and having an irregular mealtime, because again, our bodies aren't sure and they'll hold on to all those calories. So the third mistake to avoid is to avoid skipping meals. In addition to skipping meals, another thing that I see is quite popular is excessive exercising. The fourth mistake I see very often would be excessive exercising. Very similar to the fad diet idea. People are excited, New Year's resolutions come across, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna slay it, I'm gonna lose all these pounds, I'm gonna be so healthy. And they go from being a couch potato, a couch patat, to being, I'm gonna go to the gym 5 days a week. And then at the end of January, the gym's half empty because those people could not sustain that type of activity. Now, I'm going to repeat this again, but same concept applies as you want to gradually change your habits. It is not sustainable to go from 0 to 100 and expect your body and yourself to be able to keep doing that for the long term. Again, you want to have long-term goals, gradually build up to them, and slowly work towards them so we can build that mental capacity as well. Because yes, motivation and willpower will only take you so far, but you need to be able to form those habits that are going to sustain you for long term. For this reason, I don't suggest anyone excessively exercise from 0 to 100. I suggest that you gradually increase your activity, finding something that you like to do. One key thing is enjoying what you're doing. You're not going to be motivated to keep going to gym or keep going to your boxing class if you don't actually like it. Okay, and maybe if you paid for the membership, you're a little bit more incentivized to go, but even then, I know many people that still don't go and they're paying for their memberships. So trying to find something that you enjoy doing, movement that you like, movement that's fun, finding a group class if you like groups, or having a buddy to go work out with, something, but gradually increasing it. Start with 1 or 2 times a week. Once you're good there, increase the amount of times, and then increase your duration of your workouts. Like I said in a previous video, showing up is the hardest part. Once you get the habit, and you can add on gradually to that. Forming sustainable habits is the key to anything, honestly. Most of our life, 90% of our life is based on our habits, what we do every day, and that's what makes up the long term. It's the compound effect. what we do every day determines what we're going to be in the future. So really trying to figure out what you can sustainably do every day, and exercising 5 times a week might not be that for you. Now, you will get there. You will get to 5 times a week if you want to. But starting out doing 5 times a week is not ideal. So excessive exercise is the next thing that you should avoid doing. The next thing to avoid doing, and you know, this might be the most important one, would be lack of consistency. Consistency. Listen, this is probably the core to everything in life. Being consistent is your way to success, your way to reach your goals. It's how you be who you want to be, is through being consistent. And this is where I see most people fail, because they're not consistent. They cannot keep up with the goals they have set for themselves because they're usually too daunting, too excessive, too extreme, cut out too many foods, too much exercise, too much this, too much that, too much all of it. Most people make goals super big and they can't attain them. Sometimes it can work for some people, but most of the time, as you're working towards your goal, you realize you can't reach it and you keep failing, you keep missing your target, and that's very discouraging. On the flip side, you want to build towards those things. So being consistent every day, and I say this a lot, but even if it's just a little bit and you build onto that, but if you can consistently do it every day or 3 times a week, or for example, if you can consistently eat some more vegetables every day, great. If you can consistently work out 3 times a week, great. And I mean consistently throughout the year. And this is where you're gonna see the most change, the most habits, mentally, physically, emotionally, all of that is gonna form if you do it long term. Nothing works if you dabble. One of my favorite people, Dean Graziosi, says, if you dabble, you get dabble results. If you dabble in your health, you get dabble results. You know, if you dabble in your weight loss, you're not gonna lose the weight as effectively, or you're gonna gain it back once you stop doing those things. So being consistent in the way that works for you, remember that. Yes, you can be consistent. You could go 5 times a week for a month or 2 or 3, but you want to be consistent all year round. Think of yourself as forming goals and habits that you're going to sustain forever. That's how I want people to think about goal setting, is forever. Of course, your goals will change, and that's okay. Things will change, you'll change your mind. But I really believe health is one thing that people are going to want. I hope you're going to want to be healthy for the rest of your life. So making those health goals in line with your long term. And yes, long term isn't fun. No one says lose weight in 2 years. No one says that, but it's the most sustainable way to do it. And when you understand how the body works, how the mind works, it's really the only foolproof way if you're going to be consistent and want to get these health results. One perspective I like to take is that I'm going to be living for quite a long time. Why do I need to lose weight now? Why do I need to lose weight tomorrow? Why do I need to go to the gym for 2 hours? It's not about how fast you do it. It's about how long you can sustain it. And that's one thing that I really like to live by. Those are the top things to avoid when starting your weight loss journey. Those are some of the most common things that I see happen and why people cannot fully reach their goals. I hope some of that was helpful. If you're on your weight loss journey, let me know if that helped. But I really believe some of those are key to really sustaining long-term habits, and that's what we want. I hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you so much for watching, as always. If you enjoyed it, if you found it helpful, please hit the like, subscribe, and leave a comment for me. Let me know what you thought. And next week, I think I'm gonna switch it up and I'm going to do a video about how to make kombucha. Now, I say this now, but the video might not turn out because of the lighting in my kitchen, so I can't guarantee it, but that's what I'm planning. If it doesn't work out, I'll do a different video. So if you're interested in how to make kombucha and the benefits of it, stay tuned. Please subscribe, click the reminder button so you're notified when it gets released, if it gets released. Until then, if you haven't yet watched these 2 videos, I love talking about health, wellness, and mindset. So if you like those topics as well, please stay tuned for my next videos. Until then, hope you're staying healthy, taking care of yourselves, and thriving. Bye, guys.